Let's make this card. It is going to be a lot of fun, and I think you enjoy this. What I really like is that we use some of the envelope here on this portion and over here as the DSP. On the inside, we use that portion of the card base. So let's look at the items we need to have on hand to get this started. First of all, we need to have some of those Spotlight in Nature dies, or if you have any circle dies, you can use whatever you got. I'm going to be using these two. Actually I'm going to be using the one with the little flowers. I will change this out and have the one with the flowers and the other one with the little dots around it. Okay, you'll notice this is the one with the flowers. I think that looks really pretty, but I'm going to give it a try with the ones with the little dashes around the edge. So make sure you have those circles. We need to have a card base if you have any left over. You will be using this portion here, and you will be cutting it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now as we go through, we're going to be cutting it down, working our way in so that we can have this kind of this wash area in the center. The next item that we want to have is an envelope, and we want to carefully open up this envelope because we can use all portions of this envelope for other cards. And I'm going to be showing you a couple of other ones that I have created using these pieces. So we carefully take that apart, just like that. Okay, so we're just going to open it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this portion here that is on the main part, and I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to lay it down. And in particular, I want to grasp the flower in the circle there. That's what I'm looking for. I could do it on this side as we go like that. That's another flower I could use. I guess I could use this one, but it has a little bit more space on top, so we'll work on that. We need a couple of pieces of Blackberry Bliss. One piece in particular, we need a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock, 3 by 3/4 by 3 3/4, and that is just to put the circle on to make sure that we die cut it out correctly. We need to have a card base. Now this card base is a little bit different. You're going to notice that the card base is 7 inches by 5 1/2, and what we're going to do is we are going to score it, score it at 4 1/4, so that when we fold it, there is a little bit of like missing on the bottom here. So that's what this dimension is. So 7 inches by 5 1/2, score it at 4 1/4, and then fold it, and this becomes our front. Okay, so let's get started. And what I want to do is I'm going to do the inside of this first. So I'm going to need my trimmer and that piece of cardstock. Remember that one with the split, that kind of white wash on it? We need to cut it down 4 inches by 5 1/4. To make sure that we get that centered, what I want to do is I'm going to first cut along the score line. So that is 4 inches. Let's see if I did 4 inches. Does that make it in the center? Not quite. So I'm going to go back it up a little bit. And what I want to do is cut that. And I'm going to cut a little bit off the left and the right till it comes down to 4 inches and is roughly centered. So I'm taking off very small bits of pieces for that. Okay. You can see that is getting in the center. It's not quite at 4 inches. I'm going to go again and cut it. There we go. There we go. You can see it is centered on the top and the bottom there now. I will be doing the same going left and right up to the 5 1/4. So I want to take a small amount off on the left, very tiny, turn it around, and I'm going to keep going back and forth until I get to the right dimension. And that's 5 and 1/4. So you'll see as I went in, each little spot was a little bit more and a very small amount. That is just to do that, is to so that this is centered. What I want to do is I'm going to bring in my card base. Remember, the card base is 7 inches by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. What I want to do is I'm going to place this inside. I'm going to slip it inside. And I have an area down here that I want to stamp a sentiment on. Now, what I did realize when I did my card the first time, because it's such a large circle, you might want to leave the stamping to the end. So I'm going to leave the stamping right now so I can make sure that I fit in the sentiment I want on this side. This circle kind of overlaps a little bit, so I will wait until the very end to do the stamping. In the meantime, I will glue this down to the inside of the card base. There we go. What I want to do is I'm going to take my envelope piece that I had here, and before I do anything else, before I cut it apart, I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to determine which flower I want to use. And I think I really like this one on this half of the envelope. It wasn't the center part right there, it was the end. So what I'm going to do is just take that off. And I am going to die cut out that circle. I think that's going to look really, really good. I love that. So I'm going to go die cut that out right now. Let's move that off to the side. This is what it's going to look like when it's completely die cut out. That looks really pretty with all those little dashes around. Okay. There we go. Look at that nice edge around the side there. What I want to do actually is I'm going to add a little bit of ink to this thistle, and in the stamp is that one right here, and that's that center one. And to me it looks like little bits of fire going on there. I'm going to ink it up with some Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just going to stamp on that thistle there just like that, just to add a little bit more. And then you can see, oh, there we go, looking good. There, that looks really, really nice. The next piece, what I need to do is I need to cut the circle that is going to go behind that. And that is this piece, which is 3/4 by 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And if I lay that on top, you can see it fits right in there. So let's go give this a little cut. There we go, and it's all cut out just like that. All I need to do now is just lay that on top. This is going to look really, that looks really cool with the two images exactly the same. Let's glue those two together now. I'm going to let that dry and set it off to the side. The next piece I want to get is from the envelope, is I want to cut a piece of, let's just call it DSP, 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. I want to cut this out from here. And what I want to do is make sure that it's nice and even all the way around. So I'm going to start on the flat edge right here. I'm just going to cut a piece just to make sure it is straight. This one I kind of ripped a little bit, but I will be cutting that off. So I need to start with a nice straight edge. And I'm going to look at this image, and I want this part to be shown. So I'm going to go to 2 1/2. Actually, I'm going to go to 3. I want some half of that top of the flower. So I went to 3. I'm going to turn it, and we're going to go to 5 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it again, and now it's going to come down to 2 1/2. I would rather do multiple little cuts than have one big cut and make it a mistake. So now this is 2.5 by 5 1/4. Again, I'm going to get my little stamp. Let's put that up there. And I'm going to stamp this image right here. It may be covered, but you know what? Just in case, I think it's going to look really nice at being stamped. There we go. That looks really, really pretty. Let's bring back in our card base. And I'm going to place that on top, double check. That fits really nice right there. Let's glue that down. Now, because this is an envelope and it's much thinner than a regular cardstock, I'm only going to put a little bit of glue, because if I add too much, it's going to make the paper wet and it's going to make it buckle, and I don't want to see that. So we'll just put that on there. This is coming together really nicely. What I want to do next is I'm going to take that circle and place it right here. And what I can do, this gives me an image or an idea of how big the sentiment is that I can place on here. And I can do that by just taking this and laying it on top, and it looks like it's going to fit very nicely. Okay, so I'm going to put wishing you the happiest birthday. I'm going to place that on a block. We're going to ink it up in Blackberry Bliss. Now you notice I did not glue this down yet. You can glue it down and then stamp, but I think I prefer to just kind of hold it in place and place the stamp, because just in case I have to move it at all. And there, we're just going to stamp that on there like that. I can close up my ink pad so I don't put my finger in it. And all I want to do now is add some dimensionals to that circle. When you do that, make sure you only do along the top, because if you do all the way across, you will definitely glue your card shut, and that would not be very good. So I'm going to add some of these. Now, if you want, now is the time to add some ribbon. So I have a little bit of ribbon. I'm just going to fold it over. This is a tiny little piece. And I'm going to look to see where I can place it. Maybe I'll place it down here. Just again, remember, you don't want it too low so that it's overhanging and that you see the mechanics of all of your taping and stuff. So I'm going to take that off to the side. Whoops. Just like that. And I'm going to pop this on the top, making sure I clear the words. Oh, that looks really nice. What do you think? It's looking really nice. Look at that. Now it just needs a little bit of Wink of Stella. I'm going to add a little bit of Wink of Stella to this thistle. Looking good. And I am going to be adding some gems here and there. I'll pop them on. One there. Oops. All these gems want to join. All right, they can go on there. There we go. Oops, there's one left. This one wants to be part of the fun. So let's pop that on there. Oh my goodness, that card is done. It looks fantastic. And it's a very interesting kind of fancy fold. You can see, again, no ribbon or adhesive on the back. I just love this card. I think it's really interesting, and it uses up a lot of the parts of the kit. I hope you enjoyed some of the cards that we created here for you.